Just a quick one to pass over my thoughts on the recent death of David Rockefeller, and now I woke up this morning to find out that Martin McGuinness has also died. I said earlier on in the year in a post, so I have this as a showing as to what I think this year is going to be about. When I got to like February, beginning of February, I realised that there was a repeated pattern in my brain that kept saying year of death, this is the year of death. And I had to share this, so I shared this on Facebook on a status saying it was a year of death. And it doesn't necessarily mean people dying. It can mean many different things. It can mean the death of business. It can mean the death of, the death of a way of consciousness. And this always fascinates me because, this is the same as what the tarot card, the tarot card, a lot of people think means when they get the death card, it means someone in the family is going to die or they're going to die. And that's not true. It's just the death of something. It could be just something in the consciousness. And I kept getting this year of death, and I private messaged somebody as well, who's very high up in the alternative scene, saying this because as the spring comes along and we get to Easter, and without going into anything biblical or anything along the lines of religion, because I feel that that's also an evil of the world, is a group of people who believe that they can go around trodden on anybody else because they don't believe the same things they do. This is all the way that it's been warped and changed over the years. But when you look at these patterns that happen in life, and around spring, and it's say in the Christian religion, for instance, that you would say this is when Christ was born. 2,000 years ago, Christ was born. Well, this is not the way you're supposed to be looking at things. Everything is internal. It doesn't matter which religion you turn in, any past religious symbols talked about, religious figures. It all comes down to the same thing, is they're talking about human consciousness. And once you crack this and you actually see that it's not anything without, there's no sort of a Jesus going to be born. He wasn't born at Easter, and that's not what you're supposed to be looking at. What you're supposed to be looking at is the birth of new consciousness. So it goes in cycles, and you have your winter, and it's and that's the death of all ways, and you tend to settle down into winter. And when spring comes along, whatever is in the mass consciousness is what plays out that year. And that's why the death of David Rockefeller, and now this morning I find out that Martin McGuinness. So day one of my fasting was David Rockefeller. Day two of my fasting was Martin McGuinness. Now, are those two related? I would say that related in a way, yes, because there's an urge within all of us at this time of year to start a new beginning, a new change. We all get the feeling of, especially right now, when the sun starts breaking out a bit more and we start getting a bit warmer. I know in some parts of the world you've already had the sun and everything else, but there's something about this time of year that makes you feel, that you want to clean out all the old clutter, get rid of old friends, go through your Facebook friends list, clean your house out, fed up with looking at the same things, change your car. All these sorts of things happen in the material realm. But then what's actually happening is up here. You've changed. It's a pattern that you've become accustomed to over that winter, that a method of thought or something that you keep planting into your subconscious is now giving birth. So it's being born in the spring, and this, and the mass consciousness is what takes care of the global, the global side of events. So this is why this fascinates me so much, because we've gone from, the death of a lot of holistic doctors and people like that, to suddenly we seem to be entering an era of, the death of people who probably had a lot of influential power where they shouldn't have, and done a lot of things that perhaps they shouldn't have done in their life. And, it's got a lot of maybe evils that they did. And you know, if you look at this from a human consciousness level, that we're going into a new birth now. So there's a new birth of human consciousness, and suddenly you're getting all these events happen. I'm getting the strong, very, very strong urge to fast. At the very same time that I get the strong urge to fast and change the makeup of my body, and I can feel the difference coming on. And the same with a lot of us, is the same time that these people are dying. That gives me a lot of indicators as to what pattern this year is going to take. It seems to me that there's going to be a complete and utter shift. That you know, mainstream media is already dead. It's fighting for survival. There's a few people who still watch it and really believe in it and all that, but don't worry about them. Remember, no projecting fear, no projecting hate. And it's the same with David Rockefeller, Martin McGuinness. Whether you love them or hate them or whatever, don't go wishing death on anybody or anything like that. Just sit back and observe. Observe the beauty that you have created, because it's you and I. It's you and I have created this. And as we shift and we become more aware of things around us, we start to take away the power of people who shouldn't have it. For instance, you know, if you're in any, pretty much all religions, especially Catholicism, and also sometimes Christianity, you know, there's somebody up there you're giving power to, you know, a bishop or whoever it may be, a vicar who's speaking. And I can't speak for all of them, but I'm just speaking in general, that this is how evil gets its claws. They'll be up there and they'll be speaking to the whole congregation, and all the time that they're doing around that, in their head, they're scouting for the next, a few of them are scouting for the next victim. So they'll be stood up there telling you all, you know, trying to make it all God and Jesus, you know. God is your subconscious, Jesus is God is your sort of unconscious mind, the thing that creates everything, and your subconscious, and you know, Jesus would be your conscious mind. So Christ consciousness this time of year, you know, if you want to put it in that sort of text, or you could put it in my sort of way of thinking, that you know, the spring comes along and you develop a new lease of life, a death of old ways, death of old selves, and you move on. But all the time that this person stood up preaching to people and taking them external constantly and feeding them fear, you know, maybe you can go to hell if you do this, but you can go to heaven if you do this, please give us some money, whatever else they're doing. They're also at the same time, remember, you know, in a lot of cases, scouting for their next victim. And if a Catholic preacher has stood up there and they're preaching to you about looking external to yourself and everything else, you can bet your life that they're wishing to take advantage of you. Because if they really knew what they were talking about, and they really wanted to empower you, and they wanted to let you understand the way the world works, that they would be telling you that it's all within. Because that's the only way. That's the only logical conclusion you get to when you do it, when you have a lot of things happen in your life that you can't explain. So, you know, I don't wish to offend. I know I've got many great Christian friends. I mean, fantastic. They're really nice people. But they, inside themselves, they know it's all within, and they don't take things as literal. You know, they don't read a text and go, oh yes, I have to behave like this now. They read a text and just look at what it says about their inner self. And I've got a few good Catholic friends as well, so I don't want to offend people by this video. But at the same time, remember that in order to control you, people need to get you to look without. You know, outside of take your power away. If they wish to set you free, they'll make you look internally. So keep creating this, you know, in your mind. Just don't see evil as having any authority over you. And this is exactly what happens. Evil, then nature will come in line with that, and evil will be destroyed. This is the fantastic way that life pans out, the things that happen. And like I say, don't project any evil. Don't do anything that could come bouncing back to you, because that's not very nice. That's not going internal. That's not doing your inner work. If you're going around wishing death upon people, or thinking, yes, we're going to get rid of all these evil beings all this year, don't think like that. Just think to yourself, you know, that they have. If you really wanted to create the death of evil beings, you wouldn't give them any mind. You would just see them as having no authority over you whatsoever. And if the mass consciousness do that, then guess what? They get destroyed. But if the mass consciousness are going to turn around and go, you know, these people are evil, they do this, they do that. What are they creating then? They're creating the fact that these people are still going to stay in power and fulfill all what they're just saying. So really, you know, life's, I always say, and people know this on my Facebook, I always say that everything's the opposite of what you think. So while you think you're spreading awareness, should that be on a Facebook post, or you know, going around telling everybody about the evil that's going on in the world? There is an air to awareness if people don't know about it. But a lot of the time, these people who say they're spreading awareness are just talking to the people who already know, and just planting things in the subconscious of authoritarianism. You know, they're telling you, look what this person's done now. They've made this law and they've made that law. Well, what actually, someone who wants to set you free would not bring up those laws, rules, and evil that those people have done. They would just say, nobody's got any power over me. I don't see that anybody has any power over me. I don't feel. That's the most important one. I don't feel that anybody has any power over me, and therefore this year I'm going to do what I feel is right, and I'm going to ignore all laws and rules and regulations and things like that, and I'm going to do what my inner self tells me, my love, my heart, and everything else, and I'm going to follow that. So you know, that this is the main theme of this video is to look within for everything you want to see externally. If you're watching externally and watching it like a show, like a stage show, then you've got the right mind. If you're watching it and following it and feeling that is what you're getting, if you know what I mean, then you've got the wrong mind about it. 'Cause you need to look at things that they've already been created in the subconscious and unconscious mind of the mass population, and now they're externalizing themselves. And then you'll be able to predict. You'll become to, you know, you'll be able to see things and see patterns of life and start feeling something a little bit different, feeling empowered. So yeah, don't let others tell you anything's external. They only wish to rule you in some way, make you believe certain systems is all within.